welcome to today's video. So recently I did a video about step-by-step guide to applying for a visitor visa on your own. It was very well received, but a lot of the questions that I got were, oh, what are the documents, that are needed? How much do I need to apply for a visit visa? And that's what I'm going to address in today's video. So now the first question people were asking, and a lot of people asked was, do I need an invitation letter to come visit Canada? And the answer is no. If you do have someone in Canada who can send you an invitation letter, that is absolutely great, yeah? But you do not need an invitation letter to apply for a tourist visa to Canada. You can apply for a tourist visa just saying that you want to come on holiday, you want to come as a tourist, you want to come and see the sites, yeah? And you don't need an invitation letter. I don't think that there's been anybody who has been refused just because they didn't have an invitation letter. So please go ahead and put in your application and stop being scared that you don't have an invitation letter or you don't know anybody in Canada, and that will get your visa refused. It won't. The second thing that you need to come to Canada is an international passport, because you can't travel without an international passport, right? It's a no-brainer. But the thing that I want to say about an international passport for a tourist visa or a visit visa is that you should try and make sure that it has a long validity period. Because I've noticed the practice for visa officers is that they would give you a visa that is the length of the validity of your passport. So if your passport is valid for 1 year, they'll probably give you a visit visa, multiple visa for 1 year. If it's 10 years, they'll give you for 10 years. And you want to get as long as you want, as long as you can, right? So that you can visit Canada several times and you don't have to apply for a visa again for the next 10 years. So if you can go get a new passport with a longer validity, it will be great. Yeah? There's no guarantee that you will get that length, but that has been the experience of a lot of people. So I'm assuming that if you have a longer validity passport, you will get that long of a visa. However, I need to point out that the fact that you got a 10-year visa doesn't mean that you can stay in Canada for 10 years as a visitor. The visa that you get is a multiple entry visa, which means that you can use it to enter and go out of Canada multiple times, but you can only stay in Canada as a visitor for a maximum of 6 months. Yes, you can apply to extend your visit visa if you have valid reasons to do that, but you would have to apply for that. But in a normal circumstance, you can only stay in Canada for a maximum of 6 months, or in a few rare cases, the immigration officer might stamp your passport for even lesser than 6 months. And if they do, then you have to leave Canada at the period when they have stamped your letter for. The second document that you need to visit Canada is your itinerary. So your itinerary is your visit plan, so to speak, that shows why you're coming to Canada, the places that you're hoping to visit. Don't forget that you're coming as a tourist. You say you're coming to see the lay of the land, visit the land. So you need to have like a document that shows, oh, I'm going to visit Niagara Falls, I will go to the CN Tower in Toronto, I will go to wherever, and the dates that you're likely to visit. So just make a table of the places that you're going to go, the dates that you're going to go within the period that you're going to be visiting. This also makes me talk about the length of time that you should say you're indicating to say that you're staying in Canada. You're coming as a visitor and as a tourist, yeah? I think that a maximum of 20 days is fine. Anybody that says they're coming to visit a place as a tourist for 3 months or more is no longer tourism. They're no longer a visitor, yeah? So you might be refused for length of stay if you go fill your visitor visa application and say, I want to stay for 3 months. Because if you have a business, you have a family, or you have a job, I mean, in Canada, usually leave period is like 2 weeks, yeah, a year. So, I mean, they'll find it strange that you're leaving your job or your business or your family and coming to stay for 3 months or more. So try and keep your length of stay between 7 to 20 days, at most a month. Yeah, that is what I would advise. You also need to try and have an hotel booking. So since you're not coming to stay with family, if you're coming to stay with family, that's fine, or friends, they would have given you probably a letter to say, oh, this person is staying with me, this is my home, this is my address, and all of that. So having someone invite you also implies that they would give you documents to show their status in Canada, maybe evidence that they have a house where you would stay and all of that. If that person is not very close to you, it might be difficult for them to give you that information. So sometimes that's where the problem comes with inviting someone or having someone send you an invitation letter, yeah? they have to give you other documents. It's not just about giving you the invitation letter. So if you don't have that invitation letter, like I said before, book a hotel. So you can go to booking.com and book a hotel in the city that you're planning to land in, or you're planning to visit. There are other websites, I'm sure, apart from booking.com, but booking.com is one of the most popular. So go there, book a hotel. Most of the bookings that you can make on booking.com, you can actually cancel. Yeah. So just get a booking that you can use with your visa application. When you're approved, you can cancel it if you really didn't want to stay there. You can show your travel history if you've traveled before. I must point out that travel history is not a reason for a visa officer to refuse you entry into Canada or to refuse you a visit visa. You don't have to have traveled before for you to travel to Canada. However, if you have traveled before, it is a positive, it's a plus to your application, especially if you've gone to a first world country like the US, the UK, Australia, anywhere in Europe, and you return back to your country and you can show proof that you've traveled and come back. It is a plus because the visa officer is more comfortable that you would return back to your country after your visit in Canada. However, if you haven't traveled, please don't go and spend money trying to travel to one place or the other before you send in your visit visa application. Yeah, just show that you know you are a law-abiding person and you have no intention to flaunt or disobey the immigration rules of Canada. Another thing that you need to show is money. So this is where we start going into the meat and potatoes of the matter. You need to show that you can fund your trip to Canada yourself and any family members that are coming to you. Have enough money to fund your trip, and you also have enough money to come back to, after your trip. Yeah. And the way that you can show this is with a bank statement in your name or a bank statement in your sponsor's name. Now, if you're an adult and you want to go for tourism, you want to go visit Canada, and you have someone sponsoring you, in my opinion, it's a red flag. I'm not saying it won't fly, but I think it's a red flag, because why would another person spend so much money for you just to come for tourism? It's not like you're coming to study or anything. So try and save up for yourself so that you have money to sponsor your own trip and you're able to show a bank statement. A 4 to 6 months bank statement is usually required, and you must show the funds in your account for that 4 to 6 months period. You can use a fixed deposit, you can use mutual funds, you can use your bank statement in any bank, so long as it's a viable bank that you can confirm the account statement is in your name, on your sponsor's name, and the monies that you need are in the account. Now you will ask me, how much do I need? I don't know, because really I don't know. It depends on how long you're coming to stay, what city you're coming to stay, and what your plans are. That's your itinerary. But usually, if you're staying for 7 days or so, you can show $5,000. Now, these are just round figures or estimated figures. It doesn't have to be. You can show more, or you can show just about that. If you're staying for between like 7 to 10 days, you can show about $10,000. If you're staying for more than 10 days, maybe 10 to 20 days or a month maximum, you're showing like $15,000, depending. Now, you should try and have more than this in your bank account, so that visa officer is comfortable that, hey, you have money. And let it not be that in your bank account, the only money you have is the $5,000 that you say you want to use to come and visit Canada. So when you come back home, what will happen? Are you not going to need money? Yeah. So if you're coming to stay for like 7 days and you need 5,000, try and have like 8,000 or more in your bank statement. So there's monies for you to come back to after you're done with Canada. That money should be there for 4 to 6 months. Don't forget that. You also need to show that you're economically viable in your country of residence. And this you show through a job or through a business. So if you have a job, you have to probably show your employment letter, reference letters from your employer, 6 months pay slips, and you also have to show that your salary account to make the visa officer comfortable that this pay slip that you're showing, you actually receive this monies. Yeah. So they have to know that you are employed and that your employer knows that you are going on leave. You have taken leave and your employer has granted you that leave. That's why you're traveling. If on the other hand, you have a business, then you're showing maybe your CAC document, sole proprietorship or partnership, whatever that business is, bank statement of the business, maybe you show pictures, invoices, anything to substantiate that you have a business, your business is running, your business is probably profitable, and your business is registered. That takes care of employment. It gives the visa officer some comfort that you are economically stable in your home country. If you're not economically stable, they would not be so comfortable to give you a visa, because really there might be nothing to drag you back home, and you might be looking for a way to come stay in Canada, and they don't want that. Another thing you must show is your home ties. Yeah. So home ties are just things to show that you have deep-rooted ties to your country, you have intention to go back, and there's something that's going to motivate you to return back home after your stay in Canada or your visit in Canada. And how do you show home ties? Simple. The first thing is family. Yeah. So if you have a spouse, children, parents, siblings, you have a good family network, you can show that. And you can show that by presenting your marriage certificate, birth certificates, international passports of your family members. Yeah. You can also show pictures of you and your family members. If you're going with your spouse and children, then the onus is on you to show other home ties. You can also show your parents, siblings, and all of that, and you can show other home ties that I'll be talking about in a bit. Other home ties that you can show include landed properties, yeah, real estate. So a house, a land. A house and land, you can show the deed of assignment, C of O, pictures of the land, survey documents, all of them in your name. And the visa officer should be able to believe by looking at those documents that they are valid. You do not have to do evaluation, a report, but if you can and you can afford it, it gives more strength to your landed properties, and you can do that, but you do not have to. Now, if you have a business, that is also a good home tie. And I've talked about documents for business when we're talking about proof of funds. If you have a job, that is also a great home tie, because you have something to come back to, a job that's going to pull you back. Now, any other associations you have, you belong to this association or that association, anything to show that you're in one community involvement or the other, you volunteer, anything to show that you have strong home ties to your country, include in your application, yeah, so that you strengthen your application. The other thing that you need to add that will also strengthen your application or your visa application is a statement of purpose. Now, a statement of purpose is a letter or a visit plan that you write to the visa officer and submit with your application, and it tells the visa officer who you are, what your plans for visiting Canada is, and the fact that you're going to return. So it's like you're building a case to the visa officer to say, this is who I am, and this is why I'm visiting, and this is why I'm going to come back to my home country. I have no intention of staying in Canada after the number of days that I plan to visit there. You have to harp on that. You have to insist, and you have to prove to them that you have no intention of staying back, because a visit visa is a temporary resident visa. It's not expected for you to stay longer than the time that you've indicated that you will stay. So your SOP needs to be without errors. It needs to be detailed. It needs to show that you are a stable person. So write it very well, and convince the visa officer with that SOP that you're going to return back to your country. Now, with all of these documents, so long as you do it well, I believe that you have no reason to be refused a visit visa. If you have a criminal record, however, that might be a problem. One of the latest communication that they put out when they started issuing this visit visa was they were giving visas to people who didn't have a criminal record. If you do have a criminal record, please indicate that you do. Do not lie about it. Put it where you're asked. Do you have a criminal record? And give the details. You should try and get a police character certificate from your home country and include that in your application as well. That goes to prove that you are a law-abiding citizen and you have no intention of leaving. You have no intention of staying beyond, the time that you've been given to visit Canada, and you have no intention of breaking any laws in Canada. They are also going to ask you if you've been refused a visa before. It's going to be in the forms. Please say that you have been refused a visa before if you have. So any country, it's not just Canada. So if you've been refused a visa to the US, right? I was refused a visa to the US in 2016 or whatever year. You don't need to write too much details, just write it. If you tell a lie, you will be found out, and that will affect the entire credibility of your application and might lead to a refusal, and in worst case, it might lead to a ban, which none of us want. It's going to cost you about $185 to apply for a visit visa on the Canada.ca website. Yeah, it's that cheap to apply. Processing time depends. I don't know what the processing time is right now, but it changes, so I cannot give you the processing time. But if you can check on the Canada.ca website, you would see processing times. Processing time as at this time that I'm making this video is about 11 weeks. Yeah, so plus minus. Yeah, plus minus. you would get a response back from them as to whether you have been approved or whether you've been refused. Now, should you use an agent for your visit visa? If you want, yeah, you can use an agent if you want, but now you know what you need to present. Now you know how much it costs. Now you know the documents that you need for your visa. So even if this agent is doing it, you have an idea. I've seen a lot of people come to me and say, "Oh, I gave documents to an agent. He has applied, but I didn't give me bank statement." I'm like, "How did you not give him bank statement? Didn't you know that you need a bank statement?" And they say the agent didn't ask. Yeah. So in that case, what do you think happened? Your guess is as good as mine. He probably used another bank statement in somebody else's name and he told a lie on your application. So try and give them everything. All of these documents I've mentioned. Make sure you're giving it to them. Make sure you have the required amount of funds in your account before you apply. So I believe that with all of this combined with the previous video that I did, which I'm going to link up somewhere up here, so you can watch that to get a step-by-step guide. And then with this video that shows you all the documents that you need, I believe that when you put in your application the next time, it will be approved. If you gained any value so far, guys, like the video, smash the like button, and also subscribe so you are notified when we post upcoming videos, because there's a lot that is coming here on this channel. So make sure you're subscribing, you're liking, you're sharing, and stay tuned for the next one. I wish you the very best in your visit visa to Canada, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye for now.